followership, and those that also believe that against him, because we do see what we call some kind of a protest that do organize from the government, to say somebody like NNAMDI KANU is trying to bring what we call a situation to Nigeria. So we will continue to monitor that, but that is on that. I'm going to give more other headlines, but we do welcome and say good morning to those that have joined us on Star Radio UK. It is the morning show edition. It's a very quick one this morning, but be rest assured that later on in the evening, when we do have Niger Voices, we will have time to look at so many other headlines coming out of Nigeria. I'm going to come back again to you in the studio before we start touching quickly on some of the other headlines, affecting Nigeria this morning. Once again, it's Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Right, thank you very much for that week on NNAMDI KANU. One question though, you made mention of the fact that the judge was trying to get information on the requested to find out how the NNAMDI KANU actually got to Nigeria. But that is the if there is proof that he left Nigeria, there is proof that in his passport that the last delegation before he was engaging in Nigeria was in Kenya. Then the judge will be right to demand how he gets it. What is the government saying precisely?
Well, since NNAMDI KANU has been brought back to Nigeria, what the government says, they've done what we can call, the right, duty of bringing him back. But what they've not really told Nigerians is, what transpired, from the time that we do know, based on what NNAMDI KANU has told, his legal team, that he was in Kenya, and then for like almost 8 days, nobody knew where he was. So it's a case of, as the government done the needful. I mean, yes, we do know that the government is after NNAMDI KANU, but the question is, have they, taken the necessary, steps, according to the international standard, should you want to bring somebody back to Nigeria from the country where NNAMDI KANU was when he was kidnapped back to Nigeria, which was in Kenya. So these are the questions that the government have not been able to answer. These are the questions that the legal team will be asking, the federal government, during, his latest court hearing that is currently going on as we speak right now. KANU case too big for Nigeria to handle. That is also one headline that is coming up as well. So, like I said, according to the former chairman of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, Chief Victor Umar, has said that President Muhammadu Buhari made a simple case of MAZI NNAMDI KANU too complex for Nigeria. He was saying, Umar said, continued incarceration of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra by the federal government was unjust to the Igbo nation. So you can say that not just that NNAMDI KANU, that the federal government, part of the counter was using, he brought in some equipment into the country that he was going to use to transmit. He was abusive of the government. I mean, even part of the global community, people do talk about, if their country or the president or the prime minister are not doing the needful as well. And all what NNAMDI KANU has asked peacefully is, they should be given a referendum to determine their fate, whether they still want to be part of a country called Nigeria. But it doesn't seem to be going well with the federal government.
Yeah, I would like to thank you for that again. Quickly before I come to that, we know there was a time that his lawyer, I mean, was it from the US lawyer?
Yes.
I mean, how is that, has it been allowed that community?
Well, I mean, the last time NNAMDI KANU was brought to court, yes, his legal team, he did mention, that normally come from the US, was given the opportunity, to be part of the present court case. But like I said, this time around, from what we are getting from Abuja, Judge wants DSS as IPOB leader KANU makes court appearance. I've not been able to see if his outfit has been changed, because the last time the judge did ask why NNAMDI KANU outfit was still the same he's been bringing to court ever since he was arrested in June. Imagine somebody appearing to court since time he was apprehended and kidnapped and has not been given a new outfit. That alone, could be what we call degrading of his human right. But this is Nigeria, where everything does happen, and it doesn't seem the DSS is interested in whatever the judge is saying.
Wow, wow, Olayomi, that's interesting. Now, finally, on NNAMDI KANU, I know NNAMDI KANU is not an Yoruba, it's part of an Igbo movement. Now, but we know the Yorubas are also pushing for something similar. Something similar to what the Yoruba are pushing for. How the Yorubas are setting up, how they will be, what are they saying about
Well, you're quite right, because I believe now that more people have now understand the fight of NNAMDI KANU. I mean, prior to now, we've seen a lot of, and I was having this conversation only this morning during one of my early morning conversation with our followers and listeners from different parts of the globe. I did talk about it. I said it seems a lot of the Yorubas continue to get angry with the Igbo, because NNAMDI KANU, quote and unquote, used to abuse the Yoruba leaders and some of the Yorubas for not speaking out against the battle of the injustice. NNAMDI KANU, as far back as 2012, has been campaigning against the injustice in the northern part of Nigeria, even prior before he started the full engagement, demanding the Biafra. So now that we've seen that Chief Sunday IGBOHO was attacked on the 1st of July in his house by the same government that has attacked NNAMDI KANU in 2017 September. During the invasion in NNAMDI KANU's house, 17 lives were lost, including a dog. Let's bring it back to Chief Sunday IGBOHO last year, July 4th. 2 people were killed. The bodies have not been returned. Animals of cats were also destroyed, and some were taken away. So you can now see that more Yorubas now understand that it is just the same thing that IGBOHO is fighting for, that NNAMDI KANU is fighting for, because of the lack of the security, that has that has spread rather across the whole of the, the southwest and the southeast, that the government is meant to be taking care of. Last week, Thursday, Mr. Frank and our listeners, 13 innocent lives were killed during an armed robbery siege that took place in Idiakwe, in southwest of Nigeria, in the Yoruba land, where 13 people got killed while the armed robbery was taking place. There was a live transmission that was coming out from that same presence about 20 minutes, but no security operatives came out to rescue none of the people around that area. And as I speak to you today, even the governor doesn't seem to bother. And these are the injustices that Chief Sunday IGBOHO was also fighting for. And we can only continue to say that we hope the international community will look into the genocide, the crime against humanity, not just patel on the Biafras or the Igbo, but also on the Hausas that have become a punching bag of the Fulani terrorist attack on the people in the northern part of Nigeria as well.
You've got the right point where they say it's only one tribe and therefore it's more power. That is that's what they're making. Because if one right and have complaining, then it's widespread. Well, because of let's move to other categories.
According to the news coming out, anti-graft agency, the EFCC, Immigration Services, placed a Nigerian Navy ex-director on the watch list over 2 billion naira fraud. I mean, when you hear about this staggering amount of money, the question then is, these are money that should have been used, back in the system to make life meaningful from whatever sector that the corruption or the allegation or the fraud is actually coming from. Let's also talk about, the super cop. There's a person called a super cop in Nigeria that has now been charged for what we believe a drug, cartel that he was involved. But I still believe that it's got to do with the FBI asking for Abba Kyra to be brought to America. But it doesn't seem that it's going to happen anytime soon, because what we can confirm is, from the headline, Hush Puppy to Cocaine Deal, how Nigerian super cop Abba Kyra became a master of corruption and fraud. currently is now being held in the hands of the NDLEA, which is the National Drug and Law Enforcement Agency. What we do know, 2 years ago, embattled Deputy Commissioner for Police Abba Kaira was seen by many as a hero fighting for the interests of Nigerians. But recently, events have shown such perception might be far from true. The once decorated officer is gradually become a subject of scorn due to the numerous allegations of corruption, human rights abuses against him. The latest of which is arrest by the Nigerian police after he was declared wanted by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency for selling cocaine consignment seized by IRT operatives from a drug baron at Enugu Airport in January this year. Let me give you a bit of the background. This is meant to be one of the best cops in Nigeria, only for the Americans to request that we would like of interest of him to be extradited back to Nigeria. But because it's a process, it's different from how Nigerian government kidnap and rendition KANU back. There was nothing called of extradition, because if there was an extradition treaty, that could have been gone through the court process, and everybody would have known that Nnamdi Kanu was appearing in somewhere in Kenya court. But the difference now is, since Abba Kaira has been requested by the FBI, he has now been slammed with a cocaine kind of a corruption. But that means that he's not going anywhere soon to America, but he will also be facing some charges here in Nigeria. So let's go straight into some of the other headlines because of the time constraint. This morning is exactly coming up to 21 minutes past 11, the 16th of February 2022, as we continue to also demand that Chief Sunday IGBOHO, in another 48 hours, will be spending 7 months at Benin Republic for a crime he has not committed, and we continue to request the demand for his release. Also, a protesting Lagos driver set self ablaze and dies over impounded box. What I've been told is, this is not actually what the story was, but as you know, in Nigeria and most African countries, when things happen, it is very easy for the authority to quickly change the narratives. There's a particular location that we've seen the Lagos State Ministry of Transportation using what we call illegal enforcement on individuals, groups of people, and using that to extort money. But according to the information that we do have, the operatives of the task force from the Lagos State Ministry of Transportation, while enforcing duty along Muritala Mohammed International Airport in southwest of Lagos, connecting to Ajao, impounded some shuttle. The driver, whose bus was among the impounded vehicles, was said to be protesting the seizure when he suddenly reached for petrol, poured it on himself, and set himself ablaze. Like I said, these are the pressure going on in Nigeria, and these are just a beginning, because we've seen more people that have been jumping through the reef from the bridge into the river, committing suicide and do more. I'm going to take one more, come back again to you in the studio. Also, APC convention is shaky. Buhari shuns the governors jet off to Belgium. It's one of the presidents that a lot of Nigerians will remember for a very long time. But traveling, we call it global trotting across the globe. We've seen that there is now more confusion. Like I said to Mr. Archie at the beginning of February, APC might end up becoming 4 because there's going to be trouble ahead. As Fela we say, trouble they sleep, young dad go wake up. Star Radio UK, I'll come back now to you in the studio because of time factor.
Wow, what is going Belgium because of the program? They call it EU African Summit. That's okay. There's one aspect that apart from the APC, the gentleman who said himself how Nigerian you would recall in 2017 when we had a Tunisian gentleman bending himself live. That became the catalyst for what they for our saw our
Well, like I said, the pressure in Nigeria presently means that more people are concerned, and the mental state of Nigerians on a daily basis, because of the lack of so many things, is having impact on them. The question is, in the first place, why would somebody, quote and unquote, want to set themselves ablaze, if they've done the wrong thing in the first place because their vehicle was moved? I mean, we do get parking ticket here. I'm not going to set myself ablaze. Should I get a parking ticket? Because sometimes you could get a kind of what they call review of what must have happened, and sometimes we've seen parking ticket being suspended or overruled here in UK. I mean, I've been opportune to have given that same chance most times that we challenge this parking ticket. But it's different in Nigeria because of the extortion from some of these what they call the operatives working on behalf of Lagos. And I can say some of them are what we call IGBOHO. They are thugs that are in uniform, that are put together by each of these state governors, because they've allowed them to operate, with kind of what they call impunity. It's not just happening in Lagos, it's happening almost in every part of Nigeria, most especially in the southwest, that have become their own power brokers as well. And sometimes, like I said, individuals do commit something that they might not want to do, like we saw that individual setting himself ablaze. But the question is, for how long can Nigerians tolerate the injustice patel on them on a daily basis? On the street, off the street, inside the street, there's a lot of pressure across the country.
Yeah, that is true, because for some people that extent, the last is not that way to do business and what that taking away if you look at something similar to the mindset of this kind of so it's something that people get
Well, tonight we'll continue from last week, the review of the APC government. It's exactly, countdown to the election that so many people are now asking the question if that election will hold at all, because of those that are demanding for referendum. So what we're going to be reviewing again tonight on Nigeria Voice is 359 days before the election, 12 hours 31 minutes according to the Star Radio clock check. We're going to be reviewing everything that have been done on the APC, whether they've done the best for Nigerians as they are winding down, or Nigerians will continue with each of these political parties going into 2023, or Nigerians will demand for a referendum to opt out and decide their fate as those that are clamoring for a new nation. So that is going to be our next conversation later on at exactly 1800 hours. Make sure you tune in, where I'll be coming on later on tonight for everything that you need to know. And then there's going to be more headline as well to have more time as well. It's coming up to 28 minutes past 11. Let me come back now to you again in the studio.
Well, before you go, we know Nigerians were complaining about the president problem. He's not we understand that at Islamic investment will be at share over the years we have some service. Even, I mean, you don't have a
I did struggle to pick up what you said. Like I said, there's quite a lot of interference. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was trying to pick up mind of this African, EU African summit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think this summit
Do I think what?
do you think this summit has helped us?
Oh, okay, yes. I mean, if the question is, what has been the benefit of it in the first place? I mean, I believe that Africans are meant to hold their feet on their, very, very strong on the ground, rather than running into some of these, Western European system. I mean, this morning we were discussing Mango Park. For those that might probably don't know who Mango Park is, we were told Mango Park founded River Niger. River Niger has been there ever since, before the great-grandfather of Mango Park was born. But these were kind of lies that we've been told. And until we have our own kind of a system to rewrite our history, to talk about who we are as real people, we will continue to chase the cloud where the president thinks by running to Belgium to speak with the EU will solve some of the problem that is running away from. It's probably shying away from the real security problems in the country that they've created in the first place. And that is why so many of us, which is my own view and opinion, that it's time that we look into whether we continue as a country called Nigeria.
Well, I'd like to say thank you very much and good morning, and this is great to hear from you when you are know the full package what is coming this evening. So if you listen this evening at exactly 6 o'clock at UK time, please tune in to Starr Radio live. We'll be bringing you details on what is all the development happening in Nigeria and affecting Nigeria everywhere across the globe, not only in Nigeria, but it has to do with Nigeria and maybe everywhere. Olayomi, on that, I'd like to say good morning. Thank you once again for that wonderful art.
Thank you very much once again. Stay tuned with Starr Radio UK. Those asking for the update of NNAMDI KANU, we've done that already, and we'll be giving more details of that later on in the evening. Join me at 1800 hours when we continue with the update on NNAMDI KANU case from Abuja. Have a very good morning. Bye for now.
Thank you very much. Right, listeners, that is coming from Olayomi from Nigeria. We'll take a quick
A blessed day. Right, listeners, that is coming from Olayomi from Nigeria. We'll take a quick music break, and when we come back, we'll push on. We got 28 minutes. We'll push on with